Hey, and welcome to the highlights of episode number 79 with Kayla Itsines. Some of my favorite parts of this episode were when Kayla shares how to stay motivated and on your own path. I also love when we talk about the importance of love and family and how she gave up alcohol. This was really fascinating. But there is so much more wisdom and inspiration that you get in the full episode. So to listen to the full podcast and to get all the info in the show notes, head to melissaambrosini.com/77 right now. Welcome, Kayla. I am so excited to have you on the show. Can you tell us a bit about your story and how you got to where you are today?
Well, I finished school and I started off doing teaching at university, and that's at the same time I wanted to do a personal training course because I decided I wanted to be a PE teacher and be able to teach kids sport, and I started my personal training course. I loved it so much that I actually deferred for a bit to start personal training at a women's only personal training centre. I said to my parents, I'll be back, I'll go to uni, I promise, and I still have not gone back, so that's fine. Yeah, so I started personal training at a women's only personal training centre. I moved on from there and did mobile personal training. And then I moved on from there again and started my own studio. Just from out of the love of it, I just sort of progressed from, doing women in a gym to training my own clients at their house to having my own studio. And then I met my partner, Toby, who is now the CEO of Sweat. And he was a personal trainer as well. He was also had a few other businesses. And he said to me one day, after me uploading a few of my transformations on Instagram and some of the women writing to me saying, can you please help me? Do you have a training plan that we can follow? Do you have an eating plan that we can follow? And I said to Toby, look, I feel really bad. I'm not able to service all these women. And he just said, why don't we create an ebook? So that's where the first ebook came out. We just honestly just did exactly what we did with our clients. We just put it in an ebook, put it on the internet and said, here it is if you're interested. And it sort of really took off, and we didn't realize that there was such a need for something like that for women. Women were still sort of embarrassed to go to the gym at this time. We as women, we were going to the gym with our baggy T-shirts, and there was no really cool sports clothes out there at the time. And so all that stuff sort of started coming in, and I think we just hit the market at the right time, and we worked really hard and released then the Sweat with Kayla app, which then turned into Sweat and more trainers and more clientele. And yeah, it's just been amazing.
Can you tell us about how you've built your loyal community of women all around the world?
I think it happened really organically, which is what we absolutely loved because, like I said, we hit the market at the right time. Hashtags started coming out. The girls actually created the hashtag BBG. We didn't create that. We had no marketing strategy behind what BBG was. The girls created it. They started doing these things called BBG meetups where they said, oh, well, if you do the program and you do the program and you live in this area, why don't we all meet up together? And it really spread that way through word of mouth. And we just grew this amazing, loyal community. And because the girls saw me through my whole journey, they didn't see me. I didn't come in as a celebrity. I didn't come in, from a person from Hollywood. They knew I was from Australia. I was from Adelaide, which is not Sydney. It's not Melbourne. It's Adelaide. I've got a Greek family. They saw my upbringing. They saw everything, and they sort of grew with me. And I think they sort of see me now as like a sister, or they're sort of big sister role model, I guess. Instead of being look, that girl has a lot of followers. Do you know what I mean?
I talk a lot about the inner mean girl that we all have, and that's that voice inside our head that says, you're not good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not skinny enough, and you'll never lose the weight. We all have that voice of fear and doubt. It's in our mind. So what do you do when yours pops up, and how do you move through it?
The biggest thing for me is I just remind myself that it's perfectly okay to fail and not even fail, not even look at it as failure, just look at it as sort of something that, you're learning. And I know that sounds really hard to people who feel, and people who are listening, that they feel really unmotivated, and someone says, oh, it's just a learning, it's just a learning. But that's a difficult thing to hear. But if you actually really think about it, you actually do learn so much from the times that things don't go right. So if everything went so smoothly for me, if everyone went smoothly in personal training and smoothly releasing the ebook and smoothly releasing the app, you wouldn't have learned anything. You wouldn't be the person you are today. You wouldn't grow. And that's especially relating this back to health and fitness, women in their health and fitness journeys. they say, what's the quickest way? What's the quickest way to this? Because I feel terrible. What's the quickest way to this? But it's actually the journey that you go through, the long journey that you go through, that helps you learn, that helps you, if you fall off track, you know exactly how to get back on track. It's all of that learning, I guess, that, again, that helps you.
What has your inner critic said to you in the past?
I try not to be critical of myself. Like maybe when we first released the guide, typical things like, do women want this? Is this a market that we're hitting? Do people know how much I care about them? And I know that sounds like a bit like fake, but I promise you it's not. Like, I think like I really want to help people. Do you think that people see that, or do they see, oh, well, she's got, almost 9 million followers on Instagram, she doesn't actually care? Like things like that. I think that through my head. I really want to show people that I care. Like I want to show people that I do this out of like, love. And so I guess we all have them, and you're right, we do.
For someone who is like, oh, Kayla, how do I start a healthy habit and how do I maintain it? What are your tips?
The start of the year, we make these goals, like I say, our New Year's resolutions. We say things like, right, I want to, what did you say? Meditation. Oh, like I want to meditate. I want to do yoga. I want to join a gym. But we don't actually think about how we're going to get there. We just say things that we want. So we say, oh, get fit. That's one of our goals. And we write that down. That's not actually a goal. Get fit is not actually a goal. Get fit is how are you actually going to get there? So what we have to do is first understand what our bad habits are. We need to understand them. We need to understand what triggers our bad habits. Then we need to set goals for our new habits that we want. For example, get fit. But we also need to set goals on how to get there. If you want to do yoga, or if you want to do meditation, you need to write down, I want to do meditation. How much are these classes going to cost? Who is my chosen teacher? What time in my calendar can I set to go to these classes? What am I sacrificing in that time? What else? Do you know what I mean? Like sort of that sort of stuff. You've got to write down things like the time, the price, your teacher, friends, what's going to demotivate you, what will motivate you, and what you need to change in your life to get there. Not just write down, meditate.
Okay, so how do you stay motivated daily? Like, do you even have to think about it anymore? Like, how big of your why plays in to, you staying motivated? Because I think that's really important, having a why you're doing something. How does that play out for you?
So I think why is important. Why is the reason that we stay motivated. Why is, and the word why is what we're saying here is, why am I doing this? Having some education behind the reasons why you're doing something. You're not just using the Sweat app. Like, why are you using this app? What is this good for? And you need to read up and you need to have some education behind why you are doing this, why you are eating this way. What is this going to do for your body? You can't just take a greens powder every morning and just say, oh, well, I don't know, because you stop taking it after. But if you say, oh, my stage 2 liver detoxification is not working right now, and like things like that, if you understand why you're taking something, you're more likely to stick to it. So in terms of me, in terms of my own motivation, things like we said before, setting things in your calendar, setting reminders, setting appointments for yourself, and not appointments. I'm not talking about your skin appointments. I'm talking about things like your gym appointments. Like that needs to be in your calendar. You can't just say, I'm going to go to the gym after work. You need to put it in like an appointment, like it's your job. So I do that every single day at 2:00. I go to the gym, I work out. I do things like I'll eat the same thing until I get sick of it, and then I change it. So I don't eat something new every single day. I sort of have the same breakfast every single day. I know my portion sizes. I know what will keep me full. I don't drink alcohol. I obviously don't smoke. I don't do anything that's, I guess, classed as extremely unhealthy. And I choose to do that because I respect myself and I respect my lifestyle, and I understand that I'm a role model for people, which, again, is a sign of self-respect. They're the little things that I do, I guess, every day.
Have you always not drunk alcohol?
When I was younger, I tried alcohol and found that I had a bit of a, I guess how you call it, reaction to it. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like how it made me feel. Hurt my neck. I don't know if anyone has ever had a reaction, or that is listening has ever had a reaction, but my heart would beat really fast. My neck would become very hot. I would feel extremely ill, and that's just a sip. So I just stopped. I looked around, I looked at my friends, I saw how they were acting, and I didn't want to be in that environment, and I stopped. And I never, ever thought for a second, oh, I wish I could drink, you know. I never thought that at all. I had enough confidence to be able to go out and have a conversation with my friends and then leave and wake up the next day and feel great. And I had basketball training on. I didn't have time to feel sick. I didn't have time to, you know, be hungover. I was a personal trainer. And today, being 26 years old, I'm now a role model for women. And I want them to look at me and say, well, if she can do it and if she can go out, she doesn't feel pressured and she doesn't feel like she needs, then I think mission accomplished, I guess.
I'd love to hear now, do you have any affirmations or mantras that you say to yourself to keep you motivated and on your path?
I'll say to be like, it's okay to look after yourself. Like, it's okay to take care of yourself first. You know, things like the only limitations that you have are the ones that you place on yourself. Like things like that. Like I don't say these things out loud, but I think them all the time. Like I think, like I'm walking past like a massage parlor and it's like $10 massages and I look at it and I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Like I just worked out. Like I'm not going to walk past and be like, oh no, that's 10-minute wasted. And, you know, things like that. You've got to, again, put yourself first. So I guess like put yourself first, prioritize yourself first. And it's okay to not be okay as well.
I love that. And on days that you feel maybe overwhelmed or unmotivated or stressed or even flat because maybe you just got your cycle, how do you move through that? Do you allow yourself to just put your legs up and chill out? Or, you know, how does that unfold for you?
Well, that's a good one. So currently right now, too much information, but I do have my period right now. I was actually speaking to women about this earlier this year. When you have things like this, like for example, if you're sick or if you have your period or you've got a stomach ache, try not to do absolutely nothing. And what I mean by this is I don't mean by, oh no, you must go to the gym. I mean like if you're going to be in bed, then do something productive so you don't feel like you're doing that. Okay, it's easy to explain like this. If you have your period and you're in bed, do some emails.
How do you inject more play into your life? And is that something that you're conscious of?
I think I've always been like that. So again, I've always been active. I've always wanted to do things, but I only want to do things that I want to do. So I don't want to go to big events and things like that. I just like walking with Toby, walking the dogs, going to the gym, going to my family and having time with them and laughing with them. That's sort of like my time that I guess I call like play time. And then again, like if you look at my Instagram feed, it's like, oh, when does this woman rest? But I do have times of rest. If you read in the captions, like I'll say, just stretching today, not doing anything.
And what role does accountability play in keeping, healthy and fit? And what ways do you keep yourself accountable?
So in terms of everyone else, I think accountability is huge. Things like in terms of health and fitness, things like progress tracking is keeping yourself accountable. Again, booking in, like we said before, we've said this before, this is like a broken record, but booking things into your calendar, like holding yourself accountable for those sort of things as well. In terms of myself, same thing as before, like I book things into my calendar, I put myself as a priority, I hold myself accountable for all the stuff that I do. And I also get people, like I always say to people, which might be annoying, I'm like, Toby, you got a good memory, like remind me to do this. So he's like, oh, by the way, have you done this? I'm like, no, or yes, but it's like, it's sort of nice to have someone there. So just like talk to your friends about what you're doing and get them to sort of like re-ask you, have you stuck to this or have you done this if you don't have it in your phone already. I have a set of rules that I stick to so I don't get overwhelmed in my life. So for example, those rules will be things that are like very clear boundaries that I set for myself. Like I will not be away from my family for longer than a month. I will not, one of my big ones was when we first started, I will not sexualize myself to sell a product. I will not, promote things that I do not believe in. Like I set myself some really clear boundaries when we started growing and I've stuck to those and I feel great every single day. There's not a time where I feel overwhelmed. Oh yeah, there is. Just before I step out on stage and I'm about to train like all these women, that it's hard not to feel overwhelmed and nervous. But at the same time, like your positivity and the happiness that you get sort of overrides that a bit. So if you're setting yourself clear boundaries and you know who you are as a person, then you tend to not get as overwhelmed as someone who's trying to do everything and will do anything for it.
Now, what do you attribute your success to?
The community, 100%. The community is just like absolutely amazing. They, again, like I said at the start, they grew organically. The community created this sort of themselves. We didn't create this community. They sort of just like they came together, and it was so, I think like the whole world was like a bit shocked. Like, how did we get a bunch of women in a room that want to, one, work out? Not only do they want to work out, they want to sweat it out, and they want to see other women do well. And that was really rare to see a few years ago. And that's just been growing year after year after year. And you'll see in the media now, there's body confidence coming in. There's models that don't, like, they're not all one size anymore. There's just models of all different sizes, they're all different hair colors, all different backgrounds. It's just been like absolutely incredible. So there's a huge push for, I guess, women empowerment, and that's what's really grown this community.